With our Century of Caterpillar event just 2 months out, the clock is officially ticking on getting the 666 ready for showtime. Back in May, the engine was soaking off decades of grime and getting prepped for a fresh coat of paint, while Killian walked us through the old Bull and the plan to build a brand new one from scratch. Today, that old Bull still sits outside the MTS shop, quietly rusting in the Iowa sun like a relic from another age. But inside, something new is taking shape. Welder Brad Herman is laying down the first wall of the new Bull. One spark, one bead, one carefully measured weld at a time.
Killian meticulously got all the parts designed and cut out on the table, bent, and I'm starting to put them together back behind us here. Had to bend all the sidewall panels. The sidewall itself, it's the largest scraper Caterpillar ever built, so it's 20 foot long, 7 foot tall. It'd be the largest scraper bowl I've ever built. So we're basically replicating everything to make it look as original as what it was. There's a mount there, trunnion mount, that is actually an original part. Everything else for the sidewall here is essentially new. All this tan colored steel is Hardox material. It's very wear and abrasive resistant, so anything that's going to be in contact with the dirt is hardened steel so that it doesn't wear out so fast or easy. Yeah, this is just the one wall. I have the other one to build yet. Panels are on the floor over there, kind of parts here and there. Just get this one knocked out and then get the next one together. Stitch welding all the seams, kind of jumping around. Hope to keep things from warping and pulling real bad and keep it just as straight as we can. Everything we're doing is MIG welding, but essentially just jumping around to help with distortion more than anything. The new scrapers that we build in the factory, we actually have a track and a machine that welds that seam, but we're trying to keep it looking as original as possible. So we're hand welding all the seams, and it does help with distortion rather than one long weld and curling things up. We pre-camber it a little bit, basically meaning we overstress it because all the weld is on one side, so therefore it kind of wants to curl up. And being as big as it is and the fact that we've never done one of these before, it's kind of a guessing game as far as how much to overstress it or pull it down. But that would be about the only thing. There's a lot of put a part on, stitch it into place, put the next part on, and then finally, doing the final welds there. But all in all, I'm gonna have about a week in each sidewall putting it together. We have the floor to put together yet, and then we'll have to box it all up and essentially make it a bowl.
Brad gives us another look at the CAD plans. It's one thing to imagine a bowl that size. It's another to build it from nothing but a sheet of metal and a computer screen full of lines.
So right here is essentially what we're building. You can see the sidewalls, the floor we have yet to build. The light green is original that we will not be doing. So it doesn't show this whole rear structure, but anything here in the darker color is what we're reconstructing.
Now that we've seen what the final bowl should look like, Brad walks us through the bones he's starting with. It's the foundation, scarred, solid, and ready to carry the weight of what comes next.
So this is the rear tube of the scraper itself. This is where the sidewalls will be getting married to, and the floor will come off of here. And if you look out by the flagpoles there, that is the original bowl, the sidewalls and the floor that we're replicating right now. We're taking some of the old, some of the new. Some of it was in just such disrepair that it wasn't really salvageable, and it just made sense to make new.
The new bowl for the 666 is being welded by hand, every inch done with care to preserve the integrity of the machine. But for fun, Brad takes us next door to show off the track welder, a modern tool used on today's scrapers over at Mobile Track Solutions, the Legacy Center's sister company. It's the kind of precision welding today's machines rely on. But for the 666, Brad's keeping it strictly old school.
So this is the track welder I was talking about that we use for the manufacturing for sidewalls. This rail you can set down, magnets just lock it right on, and to clamp the welding whip in here, you can set the speed and it'll just slowly and steadily make a weld that is uniform and perfect.
And the benefit of that being?
The looks of it, the quality, it's basically a machine welding it versus a human error. So this would be the weld seam that track machine welds. If you look real close and meticulously, you can see every little tack from where they tack the panels together to hold it in place while it's welding. It welds it so smooth and uniformly that it actually shows through every one of those little spots.
With all the work going into building a brand new bowl from scratch, it begs the question, what happens to the old one?
Yeah, it is. I guess for the time being, I've been running in and out just to see how some things were designed or done to try and mimic it or replicate it as best we can. But in the end, it's in such rough shape that's why we're rebuilding the new, and those components will probably be going to scrap.
Every day brings us closer to the September 12th deadline, and the 666 still isn't whole. The bowl's under construction, the engine hasn't fired, and the pressure is mounting. Finishing this build isn't just about getting it done, it's about bringing a legend back to life. The team can feel the clock ticking.
Pretty crunched. It'll come down to the wire. I can honestly say we've had projects like this before and we've never fallen short, but there's been a lot of extra hours put in last minute to make it happen. As far as some of the components like the apron and ejector, I know there's a scraper that just came in the other day, and if they're in better shape, we may actually use those to put in rather than have to rebuild those components just to help out with that time frame a little bit.